All right, we'll just give it a few minutes for the algorithm to all kick in. There we go. We are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mystical Mindset Spiritual Roundtable. Today's subject is going to be holding space for others, kind of like a little addition calculation for what we talked about a couple weeks ago about love being a action, not just lip sync or lip service. So today we're going to talk about how each of us, hello, hold space for other people and why we choose to do that. But first of all, we're going to introduce Alicia to have her introduce herself to everyone. She is new to our roundtable. Morning, Alicia. How are you?
Good morning, everyone. I am doing well. I am glad to be here. I'm very honored to be here. So, thank you all for holding space for me on today. I am a recovery wellness coach. I work with those in recovery. I am also a certified substance abuse counselor. Been doing it for about 10 years. Have a little lived in experience with it with my father. And so this was my calling. I know that this is what I'm on the universe to do, because there's a big stigma with substance abuse population, and I wanted to be able to create space for them to thrive and improve their quality of life. So I love what I do, and I'm just happy to be here at the table. So thanks for having me.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Althea, would you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. My name is Althea, and I've been, this is just so always exciting. I love participating in the roundtables. So I am certified in the emotion code, and what that does is it allows the ability to tap into somebody's energy, identify the trapped emotion that's blocking or causing or contributing or creating the things that are holding us back. And once we can release that, then we can slowly start to move forward. And so I've been doing this for about 7 years. And if anybody wants to get a hold of me, they can get a hold of me through Facebook and message me directly, or they can participate in my Facebook page, Direct Emotion LLC.
Awesome. Thank you. Shania, would you introduce yourself, please?
My name is Shania. I have a business called Soul Therapy. I do mediumship healing, both Reiki healing and what's it called? Like trauma and things like that. And I also do tarot and angel cards. I have a page on Facebook called Soul Therapy, or you can find me on my name, under my name, Shania Melland.
Thank you. And I am known as Majestic Michelle, and I work with the Akashic Records in helping people release negative emotions caused by and trapped by trauma. All right, you guys. So today's subject is holding space for others. And I'm just going to go ahead and start out because I know for most of us in the businesses that we're in the field that we're in, holding space for others is very important. And it's really important that as we're holding space for others, that we kind of put ourselves, not really in the background, like in the back, but we're more that leader. We're holding that space for them instead of needing to be the dominant ones. And I know I get to practice this every single day I have clients. And actually, I kind of practice it. I don't know if you guys do too, but every single day that I'm out and about, because we're constantly seeing somebody that may have like a sad face, their energy might be down, and they just may need that little lift of an energy burst just to have that space just held for them without them even sometimes even realizing it. Althea, how do you hold your space for others?
Well, this is always a very interesting thing because I'm always playing around with this because I think there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. There is that time when you're working with one on one with your clients and you are just holding the space, and it is being supportive. It is being empathetic to to what's been going on with them. And being able to just kind of sit there and know that they have somebody on their side, I think is where it really benefits them. Being able to sit there and kind of feel into the situation is, you have just this empathy for what they've been through or what they're experiencing right at this particular moment. And it's fun. It's fun to be able to do this for people because like service for one another is something that just brings the joy. So that, I just kind of talk with them and sit there with them and that kind of stuff. And, so I just, I think I reassure them that, it may be challenging right at this point, but being able to work through it, that's where the fun starts. So that's how I do it.
Shania, what about for you?
I would agree with this, Leah. I tend to, when I have my clients, I connect with them, so I feel and see exactly what they're going through, what they have gone through. A lot of times I feel and know things that they don't remember. So it's very, like she said, it's very fun and it's very uplifting to be able to go through this with them and to show them, teach them the tools to be able to move forward and to grow and to release, and everything that goes with healing and moving on with your life and stuff. So I become part of them, I guess. Our energies connect, which in is also can be a downfall if you don't learn to clear those out once you're done with the session.
Mhm.
Because then you become their moods. You're angry, you're depressed, you're upset, whatever, so you definitely have to clear that out. But yeah, it's definitely a very fun journey, that I'm privileged to share with them, to work in their journey with them.
Awesome. Alicia, how do you hold space for your clients?
Hmm. Holding space is really what I pride in with my clients. I work at an outpatient medical facility for those in recovery. So I create a space for them to just kind of come in sometimes, just unwind. And this is just on my job. This has nothing to do with my business. My patients that come here, they just need some time to just relax. Their lives is turned upside down and 10, they're on 10 all the time and they keep something going on, and sometimes they just need 5 minutes to just breathe and not think about their next high. So I like to create that
Right.
space. I have a nice ambiance in my office with all my chakra stuff, all my spiritual tools, and then like coming in, I keep the zen music going just like if they were in a medical spa. And they love it. They love to just be able to just come in and unwind, be open and honest. I keep a no judgment free zone. It's like we just do not judge here. I don't. And I have this I'm here to serve you attitude that has just been very effective. That, when they come in and they're okay to open up and be themselves. And the same thing with my business. I create space in doing sacred circle healing groups where they all come in, and again it's just that safe place for them to be physically, and it's the safe place for them to be emotionally, to just open up and be themselves and say and talk about whatever, and it's totally cool. So I love it's what I do. I find joy in it. It's space for me as well to just do what I love to do and connect with those that I know I'm here to serve. And my goal is to create more space and more opportunities to self develop them and their life purpose. And so helping them find that life purpose and then help to develop them and connect them with other people who can also hold space for them as well to help them reach their goals. So
Awesome. Yeah, I think Alicia also said a kind of another topic of or another angle of holding space is making sure that the space that they're walking into is safe for them to be in. Because
yeah.
it's like when we all deal with different types of situations and clients, and I know for me, like my clientele have been through one trauma event after another, and it's like having that safe place where they know that they're not going to get judged, that they're going to be able to just relax and start to figure out what it is they really want with their life, so that way we can work through the stuff that they don't want anymore, is very important as a way of holding space. So Althea, how do you create that ambiance? I mean, for me, I'm on the computer a lot, so I have to just make sure my personality, the stuff behind me, is really pleasant to look at. Sometimes, like depending on the client, I may have some soft music playing in the background just so it comes through the stuff on the speakers. So Althea, how do you do it?
Well, I think one of the most effective ways is just When a client comes in, the first thing that I have them do is just tell me what they think they need, because we all have these ideas about how it is and what we need to heal. I mean, and truly, like, we do know what it takes to heal us. We do have the answers. Sometimes we just don't know how to access them. And so being able to get their perspective of what they want to do, what they want to accomplish, sometimes that is something that will automatically set the space for you. Because when people are like, well, I don't know, then you have to be like, okay, well, we need the first step in creating a good, solid foundation is getting that direction to be able to go. And so
Right.
creating that foundation, I think, is critical when they don't know what they need right at this moment. So being able to just greet them with a smile, being able to greet them with that understanding of, this is going to take a little bit, but I'm right here with you, and I'm not going anywhere. And it's going to be able to help create that and build on that. So that's how I do it.
Cool. How about you, Shania?
So I worked in the mental health for several years, and one thing that I really something I learned that was valuable to me was meet them where they're at. You don't want to go above what they're ready for, baby steps, and some are pre-contemplative, some are, at the contemplative, some, it depends on where they're at as to the information and energy that you provide. Something I do in my office is I have, really low relate, real low lighting. I also play some healing meditative music in the background. I have a waterfall in there. I always use Palo Santo before all of my clients come in, and I also have a essential oil salt lamp. That I put in some, healing essential oils and stuff like that. So the ambiance in there is generally pretty relaxed and inviting. In fact, the where my office is, the lady who owns it, the businesses or whatever, she always brings everybody to my office because it is so inviting and so relaxing and stuff to show them, when she shows them around. So yeah, it's
Cool.
definitely the ambiance is very important. Someplace that they feel safe to let their guard down and just be open and honest. So
Yeah, yeah, our room and the space we hold for them is so important for our clients and who we can attract. So another thing I was getting is that, you mentioned Palo Santos, and clearing your space is also a very important thing for us to be doing on a regular basis, especially when we have clients, we have people popping in their energy. I know I use Palo Santos. I clear my body after every session that I work with.
I do before and after.
Yeah, there's a couple different techniques that I do, and they're very beneficial. And then, Palo Santos, I love Palo Santos. I like it better than sage.
I do too. Yeah, just so warm.
It is warm. It's also known as the holy wood because
Yep,
it's what Jesus would have burned for back then, and it clears and seals to where sage just clears. And so that's why they usually put the sweetgrass with the sage because sweetgrass seals. So it's a one step versus a two-step process.
right.
So it also saves time and energy, and just having that like nice energy, clean energy that they can walk into too, that they know that, oh, it's not bogged down with somebody else's negative energy. Because I know for me, I am so sensitive to people's energies that I can start mimicking them in matters of minutes
Yes,
if I am not careful.
Yeah.
And then that can get me into some really deep issues because either people like me or they don't, depending on how much they like themselves.
right.
So, Alicia, how do you keep your space clean to be able to hold that space?
Yes, I've gotten in a habit, daily when I come into the office, I kind of do my sacred ritual every morning. I personally am a sage person. I love the sage, so I sage my office. I have some incense that I burn, and I literally um, individually light my candles, and I have a whole altar full of like lots of candles. My clients tend to really like it. It's very calming and inviting. So I like to just use my sage, and then I will actually go outside in the front in the grass and just kind of ground myself every morning to prep myself because again working in a methadone clinic is a lot of energies, lots of
Mm-hmm.
negative energies, low vibrations here, a lot. So I have to sage myself to start my day off so I can be in good spirits. I can keep my same personal good attitude that I typically like to do. I know sometimes I can get a little off when I'm provoked by some patients because they know they know me, they know
Mm-hmm.
my personality. But so I like to just clear my space, and then when clients come in before they enter the office, they state their affirmations and they do a little cleansing when we start each sacred session. And then afterwards, it's pretty much the same because if I have back to back, and I'm in a smaller office, the sage is definitely filling the room or the others that's coming in feel it, but I still do it anyway. And I have some Palo Santos spray that I use
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. Um, I'm not a fan of the smell of the spray, but I'll use it. But I love to use my sage to just keep stuff clean and then say these affirmations and let my clients know that they're safe, that they are cleansing, and this is what we're cleansing, and then just cleanse them from head to toe and they're just loving it and they're just breathing and feeling really good and it just sets the tone for the session.
Awesome. So, Althea, how do you keep your space all nice and clean for your clients?
So I've had to resort to a couple of different tactics um, because of an experience with some sage that I got. It was some really good sage, and I had it burning slowly. And by the time that I was done, like I couldn't see the camera, and so I'm like, "Good lord, call the fire department."
It'd be like
And
that.
so, right? And so I'm like, I don't even remember where I got it from. I'm like, who gave that to me? Because like that is some powerful stuff. But um, so it was kind of, after that, I was like, okay, I have to find something that really does work for me. And because most of the time, all of my clients are, Zoom or phone. So I don't have a lot of people coming to my location for appointments face to face. Most all of mine is done over the computer. And so being able to see them is very important, of course, to me. And
Mm-hmm.
also, like, because I'm the one who's enjoying this, then it's like it's got to be manageable for me. So there's a couple of things that I actually have. One is I use prayer because I feel like it's one of the most powerful tools. And being able to have and ask for the protection and the angels that need to come in, like that's critical. And I think that being able to have them work with what I have, that's what clears the space, that's what keeps it clear. And there's been very few times. The other technique that I have done, and I've had to do this, I think, about 3 or 4 times, is I've had to go get like a bowl of water and set it in the most center part and just get all of the negative stuff and just put it in the water and then go dump that water off the property. Just because it's like sometimes, it gets to be quite heavy. And so
Mm-hmm.
cleaning after each one, cleaning before, all that kind of stuff, like is so unique, all the different ways that come through to be able to help us in our own theme. So it's like prayer and that kind of stuff is what I have found to be most beneficial for me. And
Mm-hmm.
especially after the sage experience, I'm just like, okay, I mean, because what do you do? I mean, that smoke is just rolling in there, and you're like, so what do you do? So I
Right.
just didn't do that no more. So I have found that one to be most beneficial.
So, Alicia kind of mentioned something about like the morning routine. I know we all pretty much have to have one, right? I know I have my morning routine. So my morning routine, I usually wake up, have a couple of cups of coffee first, and then I go and I do some journaling, and then I'll start working on my computer, and then I'll do some more journaling. And the next thing I know, it's like 10 o'clock, and I'm like, oh, maybe I need to get my day going.
Mhm.
But I mean, my morning routine is all about like me sitting down, focusing. Journaling is how I really like to like get things out of my head. So that way I can hold space for other people a lot easier. Because when we're not all mixed up or combobulated within our own selves, then it's easier for us to hold space for other people. Because then we're not getting so overwhelmed with their energy on top of our energy and just kind of like all combining together as one. So I know, like, I more have a more relaxing type morning for my routine, but it really helps gets me into that thinking about what I need to be doing for the day, what are my next steps, that kind of stuff for even my business and to hold space for my clients. Shania, how do you have what's your morning routine like?
I wish I had one. I would love to be able to sit down and kind of just center for the day, set my intentions for the day, um, and that kind of stuff. However, I just get up, make sure all my kids are up for school, getting ready, that kind of stuff. So my mornings are a little more hectic, letting the dogs and cats out, feeding everybody and everything, and so I don't have a whole lot of time to sit and journal or sit and set my intentions and that kind of stuff. So I tend to do that at night before I go to bed. Kind
Okay.
of set my intention for the next day and my goals and that kind of stuff. So
I
I
mean,
don't have much of one.
truthfully, truthfully, setting your intentions at night's not a bad thing either, because then your psyche can kind of, think about them over nighttime, so you know what you're doing in the morning.
Yeah.
So I mean, one's not right or wrong. It just is.
Right.
Althea, what's your routine like in the morning, or how before you have clients, or
Well, okay, so this is going to sound really kind of funny, but this is what I do. Okay, so like besides all your morning, like you get out of bed and everything. One of the things that when I get out of bed and I'm coming in and I'm first doing my little studies, um, I always um, I always ask like because it's very important to me that my household remain peaceful. Like this is critical to me. When I have chaos in my home in the morning, like it really can interfere with everything that I'm doing. So one of the very first things that I do is I always ask like, what can I do to make my husband's life easier? Because starting out in service, I think to the most important person in my life, next to my children, but really he is the most important person in my life, and so it's important to me that I do everything I can to help make sure that he's getting it. And so then when I get him his breakfast and I visit with him a little bit, and then he gets out the door, then it's like, yes, success, and then I can go on and be like, now I can start giving to myself and to the others. And so being able to sit down after that, like, you know me, I'm an organizer and I organize things to death, honestly. And then I reorganize them again because
mm-hmm.
that's what I do. But it is this repetitiveness of being able to plan and make adjustments. I I don't mind change at all. I know it's going to happen. And so by being able to have at least a basic guideline, I'm set. Change can happen all at once,
Mm,
so that's my routine. What
okay.
I
can I
get that.
do? And
I love
we're
it.
off from there.
I mean, I get that because yeah, the only thing that is ever consistent is change.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like going if we are in that space and holding that space even for ourselves for that change to happen, we're going to be more open and receptive to that change and going, okay, this path wasn't mine. So that
Hmm.
brings up another question of holding space for our own selves and holding that space for that change to happen. Because there's times, sometimes, like even with our business, like if we're not holding the space for ourselves, we need to pivot and we're refusing to pivot
Yeah.
because we're not holding that space. I know, like last week, I had a really bad day, and it's like everything just kind of fell on me at one day. And it's not that I don't know how to pivot, it's just that I had like 10 things hit me at once.
Hmm.
And then trying to bury myself, like climb out of everything, was just like too much. I just couldn't do it. And so, pretty much took a nap all day. That's how I dealt with it. I slept. And then the next day woke up going, oh, I feel much better. I can deal with this today. But yeah, so how do we, as people who hold space for others people, like when we get all bogged down, how do we go through and climb out of it for ourselves so we can hold that space for ourselves? Because holding space for ourselves is also equally important, because I know that's one thing we like to teach our clients too, right? Holding the space, like them holding their space for themselves, so that way they can move through. So Shania, how do you help yourself hold that space?
One thing I do to kind of accept change, something that I've just recently learned, is just kind of asking myself, how can today get any better than this, whether it's a good day or bad day, because you're keeping that window open for more energies to come in, for that guidance to come in to give you the direction you need. Um, I've also been letting go of my own control and going with the flow to allow things to happen instead of fighting it, because I hate change. I put my foot down and I fight it as much as I possibly can because it's not my plan. Well, it's not supposed to be necessarily my plan. So I'm learning to go more with the flow, and I try to keep that question open all day. How can today get any better than this? And I try to set goals that are flexible so that I'm not disappointed or upset or just like proving myself, see, I knew I couldn't do it, or whatever. So because I like to do that too. So I just try to keep my options open, my window open to more energies to come through and more guidance to come through, so that I don't get stuck when things don't go the right way.
Awesome. And then Alicia, how do you hold space for yourself?
Well, see, I try to practice what I preach. Anything that I tell my clients, need to be able to do it for myself. And so, one of the four-step systems to recovery that I teach them, which is the first one, is surrender. The concept of surrendering. And so I try to do that as much as I can. Surrendering, simply letting go of my need to manipulate the outcome, what's going on, why it's happened. And so when I know that I get overwhelmed because I kind of wear a lot of hats and, I'm kind of this emotional person. When if I'm feeling good and I'm passionate about something, I'm just going to do it. And then sometimes I realize, okay, I bit off too much. And then I have to learn that art of surrendering, just, simply letting go and allowing myself to get back into my own sacred space. I do sacred space
Right.
twice a day, in the morning and at night before bed. It's part of my routine, even when I'm like super tired and just want to just go to sleep. It helps me. It helps me to go to sleep, and it helps me to let go of those racing thoughts that we all have. Like, so I have to have that space for myself because I know that, I can be a wing person, a wingman for somebody if my wings are broken. That's just a
Right.
concept that I learned from one of my coworkers. So I always want to try to create that space for me because we deal with some heavy energies and people are really going through, and I'm reading people assessments and the things that they're going through, and it's like if I'm not in top shape physically, emotionally, spiritually, I'm not going to be as effective as I could be. So I know that I have to surrender as much as possible when I feel that way, when I feel like I'm getting overwhelmed. And then asking for help. We sometimes, as that's in the healing business, we don't want to accept that we fall short sometimes. We may need help, and it's okay, that we're going through. And I think that's what makes a better relationship with clients when you're authentic and you know that, like, I'm not here trying to tell you what to do, how to live your life, and I think that I have this perfect life. No,
Right.
if I'm going through, I feel my clients. My clients help me heal, and I help them heal. We heal together, And that's the whole point of what we do. We're removing band-aids and we are healing now. And so they can tell if I'm having an off day, Miss Alicia, what's wrong with you? You ain't right. They can tell.
Right?
They can tell. And that's just because we built that rapport. And we know that we have to get to that place of surrendering. And like when we're trying to figure it out on our own, stop trying to don't do that. Just surrender to it, you know. So I I tend to stick to that method, and that's helped me since in doing what I'm doing.
Right. All right, Althea, what about for you? And
Okay.
if I can make a little comment real quick, Althea, whoever's on the keyboard, please mute yourself.
I don't think anybody is. I hear that ticking too.
Funny. You're right. That
All
is,
hands right here.
yeah, it must be like just a noise from a microphone or something, or it could be some feedback.
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know what I'm like, well, maybe somebody's transcribing. I don't know. But I just think it is so important. Like, I think you ladies are just awesome for being able to do what you do. Like, because you're right, Alicia, we do get overwhelmed. It is hard to ask for help sometimes when we get into a space where we're like, oh, what did I get into? Because when we start having this desire to help people, I mean, the first reaction is like, today the world, and we get this high from it. And sometimes we don't know how to deal with it when we're coming back down to, ground ourselves. And there's a lot of confusion and stuff like that. So I think being able to learn how to ask for help, when to ask for it, and I think that is key. And I think that being able to keep in mind, like, what can I do to make today better? Like, how is it going to get better? I think those are great things to be able to focus on, because I think if you want to be able to hold space and you really want to be able to work through the issues, like, it is about being able to be as healthy as you can. Is every day going to be perfect? No. Are there going to be days when you're like, you know what? And I know I've been up for 15 minutes, but I'm going back to bed and I'm going to start my day in an hour. And, okay, here is an hour and nope, still not doing it. So we're going back to bed, because we have to be able to take care of that. There are sometimes, um, you know, when I was working full time in the industry, then it was like, you don't have time. You don't have time to take that for yourself to recuperate and all that kind of stuff. Life is moving on. And it's like when you need that space, that's what causes that burnout. So it's like, I mean, I think everybody gets to a point, it's like, okay, what do I start doing? How do I start taking care of myself? How do I start with doing this? Because even when you start to take care of yourself, that can be hugely overwhelming. You're like, oh, I got to go get some stones. I got to get some cards. I got to get some sage. I got to get some, and then pretty soon, I don't know. Am I making stew? I don't know what I'm doing. And so, like, being overwhelmed in that capacity of where do you start, And so what I'm starting to discover that is hugely beneficial is literally coming up with a strategy. Like, how do you want to handle your life? We talk about how everything is planned, and sometimes, things are foreordained, and how we came to this planet with a purpose. Sometimes we get confused, and we need to be able to kind of go back and say, what is my strategy? Is it just surviving today? Because then I'm going to go curl up with a book or a cup of coffee and, just stare out the window. And then, yes, that plan has been accepted and accomplished. But when you're looking for the healing and everything like that, and being able to hold the space for your own self while being able to go through what you're doing for other people, like, having that strategy is key. What are you going to do when you're having a bad day? Are these things necessary? Do you need to go back to bed? Do you need a nap? Do you need a sandwich? I mean, think about it when you're taking care of an infant. They don't come with a manual that says, oh, your baby will need food at 12, 3, and 6. It's just, you're just like, okay, you're crying, now what? Okay, so I checked your diaper, I checked your food, you don't want anything, okay, so now we're just crying, all right. We're crying. And so being able to have that strategy of, okay, if I notice that I'm starting to get off, I'm going to stop and I'm going to say, what is this? How am I going to deal with this? And if somebody comes into your space that is really off, because we are all off at one time really bad. And so when they come in, you say, okay, what are we going to do to get this underway so that we can keep moving forward? I think having a strategy is key to being able to balance it all. And I think that's when you have that strategy, you know who to incorporate. If I'm having a bad day, I'm going to be like, Michelle, let's do an exchange, and like I had the opportunity to shock the crap out of my sister the other day. Messaged her and I'm like, I need a coaching session. She's like, from me? No. Do you have anybody else? Because I'm a jerkwad like that to my family sometimes, but I'm like, yes, from you. And so she was just like, I'm so excited, but it just totally made her day, which helped me feel better. But like literally, I'm just like, okay, because it was a family particular issue, like who better to go to than somebody's who's right in the family with you. So it was very helpful. But being able to have that strategy of your people in place, it is important. And that is one thing that I strongly believe in is you should encourage healing with other people because maybe they are stuck and you're like, you know what? Michelle knows how to help you. Alicia knows how to help you. Shania knows how to help you. So go see them for a little while because not everything, you get to a certain level and it's like, I really enjoy that, but now I'm plateauing. What else can I do? And sometimes it is just exploring over here a little bit. Oh, okay. And then I can come back and work on it. So it's just like, no, you should have your list of people, your go tos, because we talk about mastermind groups. This is how they're created. This is your mastermind group of who you need to help you succeed, because that's what it's about service for everybody and helping everybody succeed, not just one person. So that's where I'm at. Long winded answer. Sorry. I get all excited.
That's
I like to listen to you.
Oh, good. I like
great.
listening to me.
It's apparent. No.
Alicia, how do you hold space for yourself?
Yeah, again, I like I said, I like to every twice a day. I have to do it. I just get in that routine of doing my own sacred circles. It's me, me and my ancestors, my spirit guides, God, and Jesus for me. And I just practice that art of surrendering and clearing out my thoughts. I'm a huge advocate for hape. I use my plant medicine twice a day. It just helps me to, stay focused, grounded, helps me to clear my mind, the chatter that tends to come up, when you're taking on energies and you got a lot going on, you're wearing multiple hats. So it just helps really, really helps me to ground me and keep me energized, keep me
Cool.
passionate, keep me grounded, keep me wise, keep me patient on this journey because I know that I don't know who I'll meet every day. And I always tell myself I want to be love and light wherever I go. I want to be that light. And I want people to be able to see me and align with me and, join my family to, receive your healing, And so that's like my personal brand. And I know I have to be equipped for this powerful transformation, this journey that God has given me with this particular population that a lot of people tend to steer away from because they look at their behaviors, So I don't have that judgment attitude. And I tell my clients all the time, like, you don't know where I come from. I think we've all been addicted to something, something that we're doing excessively, So I have no right to judge you at all. I'm going to be love and
Right.
light because that's what I'm here to do. And so if I'm not my best, then I can't give everybody the fullness of what they need to be able
That
to
is so
heal.
true. All
So
right, Shania, what about for you?
I think it kind of depends on the issues at hand. Oftentimes, if I'm at home and not in my office or whatever, I'll just say I need my time. I just go to my room. I meditate. I ask for guidance from my spirits and so on and so forth. Sometimes I feel like when I'm feeling like really just agitated, like everybody's just driving me crazy. Oftentimes I feel like there's a message someplace that I'm not getting. So, I'll go and I'll just say I need 10 minutes. I'll go and I'll just sit and just see if anything comes through. Most often it doesn't, because I'm at that point I'm already frustrated and annoyed with myself. So, I'll pull cards, or whatever. I'll just, kind of, I'll start kind of telling giving it to my spirit guides and my team and stuff like that, and then that's when they pipe up and they're like no, and they'll put me in my place, whatever. So sometimes I just have to be cranky and stuff in order to force myself to take that alone time, or that time to recenter, regroup, and see what's going on. Oftentimes though, I I like to be in my office. That's my space. That's what I created. That's where all my crystals are, and just, everything that's healing is there for me. So that's generally, if I don't have clients for the day or whatever, I'll just make a reason that I got to go to my office just so that I have that time, because being empath, as most of us are, we absorb everybody's energy. So if my husband's crabby, or my kids had a bad day, or just all the stuff that builds up from the few days and you don't clear or whatever, you just start feeling crabby and yucky and edgy and whatever. And so then you start giving yourself that bad day because of all the energies you're carrying and your attitude. So I try to get to my office every few days just to download or unload, or whatever. So it's really important for me to have that alone time, but I am not good at giving it to myself until I absolutely need it. So it's something I work on, to give myself that time and space.
Well, it's interesting for me because I actually, like, right now, I've been on the road for the last month traveling. And so hotels have kind of been my office and my home. And so when I get into a hotel, the first thing I actually do is I do pull out my Palo Santos and I do clear.
Mhm.
And then because it's like going with the stress of driving and all that kind of stuff, the other thing I do, like when I'm at a hotel, is like I love to take baths. And the thing I found out is that not all hotels have bathtub stoppers.
Yeah.
So I was like going, I think I'm just going to go buy one and keep it in my bathroom kit. So that way there's never an excuse like, oh, I couldn't take a bath because there was no stopper. Because I just have one.
Mhm.
And so that way there I can like take my Epsom salt baths, when I can, and take that hot relaxing bath and listen to some calming music to help me get through the day and the next day that I'll be facing on this journey that the universe has me on right now. And so that's been a really interesting way of me, being holding my space for myself through this journey, is also making sure that I am taking care of my needs as I help my clients figure out how to take care of their needs. Because, after all, like Alicia said, you have to walk your talk, right? If you're not willing to do it for yourself, why would you expect your client to do it?
Right.
And so that's really an important philosophy for me to like, no, you got to walk your talk. So, Shania, how do you walk your talk?
Well, I'm honest with my clients, and I'm like, I know I need to practice what I preach. I, struggle with this, but this is a very useful tool if you want to try it or use it, whatever. Um, I am getting better at walking my talk, following through with what I tell others. Um, for me though, and I'm really good at making excuses. Um, I have a busy life, I still have kids at home, and I have my husband has three businesses that I help with, and I have my own business, and we our life is just so hectic all the time. And so I really struggle with finding that alone time until I absolutely need to, or my team forces me to get that time or whatever. Um, but when I do, have that alone time, I do, kind of work on, a lot of the self love, and all that stuff that I try to teach my clients. Um, so I am getting better at it. I am not the best at it, but when I have the alone time, I try to reflect on what I have been told to tell others. Because most of what tell others is guidance from spirit and whatever. So I try to go back and kind of reflect on a lot of direction that I've been given to give to others, and I try to use that myself. So
Cool.
I'm working on it. It's really tough, and I'm really good at making excuses, like I said. So
Althea, what about for you? And you guys, I will be right back, okay?
All right. I'll keep everybody entertained until you return. No. Okay, so one of the things that I have found to be most useful in walking my talk is making sure I set the time aside to do my own emotion code sessions with me.
Mhm.
Because, there is times when you're just kind of like, I don't know what the heck's going on, but this is what I feel. And so I do have an appointment with myself once a week. I have that time carved out automatically because there was a time when I didn't do it. And I'll tell you what, I just was in pain. Like, it was the weirdest pain that I'd ever experienced because I'm like, um, what really is going on? And so being able to set that time aside to do an emotion code session for myself is what keeps me balanced. It is what kind of refreshes me and recharges me. And then the next thing that I make sure that I do, because I want people to know that when you're working through the emotions, there are times after the appointment you have
I think we lost her.
my internet, my air is all messed up over here. We have so limited internet connections, so apologize for that. But so the one of the things that I tell my clients after the emotion code session is like, since we dumped all that stuck energy back into the system, you have to physically get it out now.
Yeah.
Because so go for a walk, get that heart rate up, not to the point where you're like, okay, I'm gonna die now because I'm releasing trapped emotions, but so that you can get that sweat going on. Um, it's better to choose the option of how it comes out because that's what it creates. So you don't want your people to have crisis. You want them to be able to be aware that this has the potential and choose their outcome. It lets them feel more in control. And so I do have to go for a walk. I do have to do those little bit of physical exercises, even though I don't want to. I don't like
Mhm.
sweating at all. So but being able to get on the treadmill and walk for a little while or get on the bicycle or go do some sit-ups or crunches or whatever it is, like, I have to do that. And sometimes I literally have to kick my own butt in order to get in gear to get over there and do it, but it's what I have to do because that is important. So that's what I do. I book my own sessions and I do literally physically walk because what else do you do? You
Mm-hmm.
have to be able to participate actively in your healing.
That's right. So true.
That is so true. Participating in our own healings, because we've all been on a journey. There's a reason why we all do what we do, and it's part of the healing of our own journey through this lifetime and what we've seen. So yeah, that's so true. Like we all have to participate actively in our own healing because if we're not, then are we just being like complacent and not accepting the change that could actually happen?
Mhm.
So yeah, so let's go around and let's tell everyone, since we're coming up to like at the end of the hour, tell everyone how they can get a hold of you so that way they can contact you for private sessions. So Alicia, why don't you go ahead and go first today?
Well, my business is Couples Connection Group. So, of course, you can go to couplesconnectiongroup.com to learn more information. You can also email me at info@couplesconnectiongroup.com. And you could book a discovery session with me. Let me hear your heart. If you're in recovery and you've tried countless times, different treatment options, and nothing's worked, and you just need somebody to help, you heal from within and help you, maybe you and your loved ones better understand your addiction. I, of course, do groups, one-on-one coaching as well, and I would love to connect.
Awesome. Shania, how can they get a hold of you?
You could look me up through Soul Therapy on Facebook or my personal page, which is Shania Melland on Facebook. Uh, or you can email me as well at soultherapy21@outlook.com.
Althea, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, you can go ahead and get a hold of me on Facebook at Direct Emotions LLC, or you can message me privately, Althea Mitchell. And the other thing you can visit is the website of directemotionllc.com, and you can have an email and everything like that there.
Awesome. And I'm Majestic Michelle. You can get a hold of me at healingwithmichelleadams.com. Facebook Healing with Michelle Adams, or even on this group page where this is being shown right now, on Mystical Mindset. And it's actually, that is a good group to actually get a hold of each and every one of us because we're all on there. So if you message any one of us on there, we're going to go ahead and answer back. So, you guys, thank you for joining us today and have a glorious week.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye, guys.